Travis Scott, Utopia, dropped a week ago, and even though a week is a long time for me to drop a review, it's not a long time compared to the period of time that we've waited for this thing, 5 years. Today is my review of Travis Scott's new album, Utopia, and it feels so freaking good to say that. If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. So I know I've been gone for the past week. I've been really sick. I'm still recovering very slowly, but I had to give y'all the Utopia review not too long after it dropped. It's been a week already. I'm like completely past the point where it's relevant, but I still wanted to give y'all that followed me on the rollout for Utopia for such a long time my thoughts on this thing, and kind of unfiltered, more like just talking about this thing as I am perceiving it now a week later after having listened to it a couple of times, not just one time how I usually do my first reactions, but actually going into the songs a little bit more over the course of a couple of days. Now we got to start out by saying that of course this album had huge expectations. This was almost impossible to meet. At least I didn't think that Travis was actually gonna make everybody happy, live up to the expectations, and I've seen a couple of people already say that they were kind of disappointed by Utopia because obviously in their mind they formed their own opinions of what this should have been, and then it's only one way, the way that it is, and people aren't really satisfied with that. But let's talk about the songs and then talk about how this fits into the grander scheme of his discography and how we can, review this. So it starts out with Hyena, which was one of the songs that was teased with this utopian alphabet, and I think this is a pretty good intro to an album like this, more of a rapping Travis on this one. Maybe this is what he meant when he said, taken back to Al Faro, Days Before Rodeo. I didn't think that the song had that much replay value, even though it is a nice teaser into the album, especially with the outro at the end, but it's not a song that I go to, back to a lot. What is a song that I go back to a lot is Thank God. I believe that this song is honestly one of the best ones on here, one of the best ones that I go back to, because we have this kind of slow first half and then the beat drop with the second half. This part, this song is probably top 3 on this album for me. Now, next up, we had Modern Jam with Tizo Touchdown. What's also interesting is that he now added the features in the track list because, for the first couple of days, it was hidden features, which I absolutely love, Travis. I love you for that. But still, Modern Jam, which has the, people already started to notice that a lot of Yeezus interpolations, a lot of Yeezus, influence on this one. But Modern Jam is a song that when I first listened to it, I was like, okay, when is this gonna pick up? But basically this bare bone I Am a God beat from Yeezus with Travis just rapping over this, the more you go back to this, the better it gets. So this is definitely a song that I think will grow on me a lot more, but it's not one that I was immediately like, yo, this is it. So at this point on my first listen, maybe I was a little bit worried. But then we go into My Eyes, which is also top 5 at least on this album, with that beautiful first half with the auto-tune Travis that I think we haven't heard maybe since like Mile High with James Blake. So I love this. I love that Travis voice came back. Travis is obviously very big on using his voice in different ways. So I love that song, and also the second half where it picks up a little bit. God's Country, a leak that we've had for the longest time, and I think this definitely delivered. It could have been a bit longer, to be honest, in my liking. It could have been a bit longer. I still like it though. I still go back to it a lot. Sirens probably has one of the best instrumentals on here, even though, this was also teased in the Utopian alphabet, but I don't see myself going back to this as much when I'm, picking out the singles for this, but for the beat alone, we should definitely have this in there. Then, of course, we had Meltdown with Drake, which was obviously going to be the big one because it's kind of like a sicko mode remake, the way that the song is structured with Drake at the beginning, then Travis, and Drake a little bit again, and then Travis again. I don't know, I don't listen to that as much, but I know that it's going to be the most successful off of here just because of the Drake feature, and the first Drake verse is actually pretty good. He did go pretty hard on there, so I'm happy about that. Then probably the second most famous song at this point of the album is Fiend with Playboi Carti, which has an annoying repetitive hook with Fiend, 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 and I know that a lot of people like this, and I know that a lot of people gravitate to the song because of exactly that. I never really went back to this. The instrumental is insane though, so I really love the beat. I love what they did with the beat, but just the way that they executed this wasn't really my thing. Then Del Resto, or Echoes with Beyonce, I think was a song that had so much potential but never really picked up and never really reached its full potential that it could have, because especially with the vocals from Beyonce on here, he could have made a complete anthem, a complete legendary song, but it just never seems to pick up, and I feel like he wasted such a big opportunity with this song on there, which is honestly one of the only things that I can criticize on this album, besides maybe Fiend, but I can kind of objectively see Fiend for what it is. I just personally don't like it that much, so I can't, comment on that, but this one, definitely a lot of unused potential on Del Resto. It's a song that we've had for a long time. I think Kanye was originally on it, but we got to see, how it develops, but I don't think that it'll grow that much more on me, just because at the tempo it's moving at and at the momentum it's building, it's too long and it never really picks up. Then we have I Know, which I think is going to become a big single at some point in the future after Meltdown and Fiend have kind of, died down a little bit and people are not, going into those as much. Maybe like Can't Say was on Astroworld, but we'll get into the Astroworld, comparisons after we go through the track list. But I Know is honestly a nice song. It's a song that you can go to and just kind of, what you're going to get. So I definitely like I Know. It's definitely a good song. Utopia Twins with Rob 49 and 21 Savage. Definitely 21 hard verse on there. I really like that. So I like that, he put them on there. And even though the song is a little bit superficial, it's still a song that maybe fits on there, especially after tracks like Del Resto or I Know, where it kind of picks up a little bit more. Because then it goes into Circus Maximus with The Weeknd and Sway Lee, which is, a Black Skinhead ripoff or kind of inspired from, which you can definitely hear, and I think that is amazing about this track because he definitely did his own thing on there, and Circus Maximus refers obviously to the movie he dropped with this as well. Then we got Paracel with Young Lean, which is going to be one of the most underrated songs on there because that was the first song that I liked out of this track list, in my Spotify liked songs, because this is one of those deep cuts that you go back to a lot, like Astro Thunder was on Astroworld. Then Schizo with Young Thug is a very long track, but definitely one that you should, sit all the way through, because it goes through a bunch of different interesting phases, and I think that you can get a lot out of this track if you take the time and listen to this. Lost Forever with West Side Gun is a track that, we've been waiting for it to get officially for forever. I'm happy that it left West Side Gun on there. That definitely added to the fullness of the track. So I love Lost Forever. I do go back to that a lot because of the leak. Then we have Love with Kid Cudi, which up to the point that Kid Cudi came in and I didn't know that there was a Kid Cudi feature, I was like, this sounds like a Kid Cudi song. The only thing left would be a Kid Cudi feature, and then Cudi does come in the last minute of the track. So that was kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy on there. So I did like it just for that reason, even though I'm not that much of a fan of that, lemon and lemon and lemon now. I never liked it when Cudi did that too, so I don't like it when Travis does it now. But I like that the student and the master on the same track, and then Travis doing Cudi style, so that was kind of like a full circle moment. We already had K-pop, even though I think it fits better in the discography now than I thought it would at the beginning. And then Telekinesis, Until Further Notice, the two outro tracks that we've also gotten before. It was Future Sounds for Telekinesis, obviously. Until Further Notice was also something that we knew was going to come from the Utopian alphabet. Both of them perfect outros. He could have used either one, but those tracks, they're both above 5 minutes. I mean, I think Telekinesis even almost 6 minutes, but you sit through that song and you're like, this is such a complete song. And like on a couple of the tracks on the track list, you can definitely tell that Mike Dean was working on them, the synth god with the synths just going crazy in those songs, which, kind of fade in and out of each other, even though there isn't like a connecting element between the songs where, you kind of have songs fading into each other or transitioning. Maybe that could have been added, but I think this way it's also pretty good. So this whole album, man, I gotta say, completely objectively, it lived up to the expectations, which is crazy because we had 5 years of expectations build up, and the fact that Travis, such a big artist, can meet those expectations is unbelievable. That's something you got to think about a lot, and you kind of got to understand that he actually lived up to the expectations that we had is fucking insane. Also, I got to say that this is probably Travis's most complete project. It's definitely, it's something new. It's not an Astroworld 2.0. It's not a Rodeo 2.0. It's something new, and the way that, he then fulfilled those expectations doing something new just shows that maybe this is going to influence, some more stuff to come. And a lot of people are saying, that this is the Yeezus inspired project, and a lot of people pull up that Kanye clip of Kanye in 2013 when talking about Yeezus saying, I'm living 10 years in the future, 2023, and now we have a Yeezus inspired project on such a big level. That's a crazy, how do you call it, prophecy from Kanye back then? But a lot of people forget that Travis was involved in the production on Yeezus. So that's why you can't blame Travis for doing this sound. He literally helped invent this sound back in 2013 on Yeezus, and now people are saying he stole the sound from Yeezus. He literally made Yeezus, so I never understood people saying that. But I love that whole thing is coming full circle. That is insane to me. Also, what I wanted to add is that we all thought about this crazy concept of utopia and dystopia. There's no concept to this at all. At least not what you can, on the surface, see. It's more like this is just great material. It's great music, just great art. And he definitely convinced just with the material itself without a fancy, concept surrounding it. So that's definitely a plus as well. So I'm very happy about this project. If we're doing Fantano now again, because apparently I'm doing that now, I would give this an 8.5 out of 10. Leaning towards a 9, because, as I said, a couple of things I mentioned when going through the track list, like some unused potential on Del Resto, for example, and maybe not having Kanye on a couple of those features that he was originally on, but I know that he can't have Kanye on stuff right now, so I get that. But still, amazing project. The way that it lived up to the expectations, I think the rollout for all of us was worth it, and I'll be more than happy to read y'all, comments and y'all reviews on this in the comments down below, because that is what we're all here for. So let me know in the comments down below. And I'm back. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.